Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session on Cloud Launch and Learn. I'm very happy to see you here, and we have a special guest today, and her name is Alpa, and she's going to talk all about Azure Data Factory and how to get you started with that. So, Alpa, do you want to speak anything about that? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Uh, Hi, all. Thank you all, and welcome to my session, Azure Data Factory for Absolutely Beginner. Can you see my screen?
So before we switch to your screen, Alpa,
Yeah,
let me just mention to our readers that Cloud
yeah,
Launch and Learn prepared you this link that you see on your screen. It's basically QCR code to scan it and learn about Azure Data Factory. Okay, and you can also follow us on Cloud Launch and Learn YouTube channel as well as Twitter for all the new things. Now I'm going to hand over the space to Alpa to start her demonstration. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I would be more than
yeah,
glad to bring them so that Alpa can answer
yeah,
that for you.
yeah,
All right, now let's switch here. Okay, now it's your screen, Alpa. Can you? I'm
yeah,
sharing your screen. Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, thank you all, and welcome to my session, Azure Data Factory for Absolutely Beginner. Here at Cloud Lunch and Learn. Purpose of this session is to provide you a very quick overview of Azure Data Factory, so you can start applying this idea into your business use case. So let's start with myself. I'm Alpa Budpati and I'm working as Azure consultant at Cluster Reply. I have provided you my LinkedIn information. So if you have any question later on and you'd like to ask me, then please feel free to do that via LinkedIn. I'm Microsoft certified trainer, and I'm certified Azure developer, Azure data engineer, and Azure data scientist. So if you have a question regarding any field, you feel free to ask me later on, not now then. So let's start with today's agenda. So today's agenda is divided into two main parts. In first part, I'm going to give you an overview of Azure Data Factory, where here we see what is Azure Data Factory, what are key components of Azure Data Factory, what can you do in Azure Data Factory, and how Azure Data Factory works. And in second parts, we're going to see a demo. In first demo, we're going to see a quick overview of quick tour of Azure Data Factory, and in second part I'm going to show you a demo regarding Azure Data Factory pipelines, like how to create pipeline for data movements and data transformation. So stay tuned with me. So let's start with first one. It's a Azure Data Factory. So what is Azure Data Factory? Azure Data Factory is a cloud-based data integration service that orchestrates and automates the movement and transformation of your data at a scale without writing a code. Also, it is a Azure PaaS service. It's a platform as a service and it's a serverless. Because of these two reasons, you don't need to worry about compute infrastructure, software installation, or web server configuration. Azure will do it for you. So you can fully focus on a core implementation, and because of that, you can quickly build your pipelines because you are only focusing on implementation. And because of these two reasons, you only pay for what you have used. For example, if your Azure Data Factory is not running, then you won't get any charge. However, you will get very small amount of charge, which is a storage, which can be negligible as well. So it's a cost effective. And last but not least, it's a low code or no code solution. So without writing a code in a Scala, Python, and Java, you can still do same thing in Azure Data Factory by just drag and drop. Also, you can easily integrate with other Azure services like Azure Cognitive Service, Azure Machine Learning, Azure Databricks in Azure Data Factory very quickly and very easily by just drag and drop without writing a code. So I will show you demo later on. So these are the main things, and we can say this is Azure Data Factory. Now let's move into next one, which is a key component of Azure Data Factory. So first one is a linked services. So linked services is a connection manager. So like it's hold the connection string of your source. So if we compare this with SSIs, then it's a connection manager. It's same as the SSIs. You have a connection manager who hold the connection string of different sources. So here our link service hold the connection string and it authorize the source. So that source can be used later on in Azure Data Factory by Azure pipeline, Azure Data Factory pipeline, or Azure Data Factory activity or a data flow. So that is a link service which hold the connection string. Next one is a datasets. So datasets is nothing but it's like a structure of your data. So for example, if your link service is holding the connection string of Azure SQL Server, then your data sets in form of a table because it's hold the structure of your data. And if your link services is pointing to, for example, REST API, then your data sets in a form of the JSON format because it's hold the data of your authorized source, which authorized by link services. So this is a data sets. So now let's move into next one, which is the activities. So activities are nothing but it's do a specific task. For example, copy activity, copy a data from one source to another source. For example, machine learning activity allow you to perform a machine learning task in Azure Data Factory. And you have so many activities. For example, control flow activity, which allow you to do switch, until, and for each loop, those kind of things. You have general activities. So there are so many activities available which I will show you during the demo. So these activities do a specific task in your pipeline. So next one is a pipeline. Pipeline is a logical group of your activity who perform a specific business outcome. So you can use a activities in your pipeline in a sequential activity, or you can do parallel, or you can use mix of them, and your pipeline can have a more than one activities. So once you have ready your pipeline, you can trigger it. So at that time trigger is comes into picture, and you can trigger your pipelines in a various different way, which we'll see later on this session. So these are the five main components of your Azure Data Factory which help you to build your workflow. So now let's move into next topic, which is what can you do in Azure Data Factory. So you can copy a data from one source to another source using copy activity, or you can use a copy tool. So for example, if it's copy activity, then you can move your data from various sources. So for example, you can move your data from other cloud services, for example AWS, Google Cloud. You can move your data from on-premise database system like SQL Server or Oracle Server. You can move your data from a system like Salesforce CRM 365. You can use a Azure Function, HTTP Web Call, or REST API as a source to move your data from one source to another source. You can use SFTP and many more. These are the very simple data source you can use, but actually you can use many more. So these are the source you can use as a source, and you can use as a sink as well. So you move your data from one source to another source using the copy activity by just setting few properties and drag and drop, and you can do it very quickly. So in Azure Data Factory, we have a more than 100 data sources available, which you can use as a source or you can use as a sink or both of them. So this is the link which help you to find out which source you can use as a sink or as a source or both of them. And this is called a data movements. So in Azure Data Factory, we can do a data movements, and data movements is a very important part of a modern data warehouse, and is a very important play a role in very important role in a extract, load and transform, or extract, transform and load in your data platform. So this is a data movements. Now let's move into next one, which is a data transformation. So we can do a data transformation. And for that, Azure Data Factory has a mapping data flow. And this mapping data flow use a Spark cluster behind the scene. But you don't need to worry about at all. You just need to drag and drop component. That's it. So without writing code in different language, you still can have that features by just a drag and drop using the mapping data flow in a Azure Data Factory. So these are the sample source you can use as a source, and then you can apply a transformation. For example, you can apply a union, join, pivot. You can add a new columns, you can delete new columns. Those kind of things you can do it in here by just drag and drop components without writing a code. And after that, once you finalize it, you can store it in a different data source. So you this is a transformation. And if you are familiar with SQL Server and operations like union, join, group by, window, these all kind of things you can use here by just drag and drop components without writing a code. So in Azure Data Factory, for mapping data flow, there are around 12 data sources available, which you can use as a source or you can use as a sink. And this is the link will help you to find out which data source you use as a source or a sink or both of them for your mapping data flow. And this is called a data transformation. So data transformation also a very important part in a modern data warehouse and in extract, load and transform, or extract, transform and load. So in Azure Data Factory we can do a data transformation, and we can do it very quickly and very easily. So now let's see what else we can do it in Azure Data Factory. So as you see earlier that you can create components and pipelines, data flow, activities. So everything you create in Azure Data Factory UI, behind the scene it generate a JSON code. So you don't need to worry about a code at all, and this code you can use as a source control. And it provide a Git integration which is inbuilt, and you can directly do it via UI. And it provided two Git integration, it's Azure DevOps Kit and GitHub Kits, and this is you can do it very quickly by few clicks away. And you can monitor your Azure Data Factory components using UI, and you can manage them using the UI. And last but not least, you can trigger your pipelines. So you can trigger your pipeline using a specific time. For example, end of the day, start of the day, or 6 o'clock in the morning, like that. You can trigger your pipeline based on when file created or deleted from your blob storage. And you can trigger your pipeline using custom activities. You can code your custom activity in a Azure function, in a logic apes, in a PowerShell, or in a C# code, and you can trigger Azure Data Factory pipelines. So these are the things which you can do in Azure Data Factory. So now let's move into next one, which is how Azure Data Factory work. So for that, let's imagine that we have a scenario to move our data from a REST API to a Azure SQL Server. So here our source is a REST API and our sink is SQL Server, Azure SQL Server. So for that, we need to create two link services. So we define our source and sink. Then we'll create a link service for source, which is REST API. So here we have to provide our REST API URL and authentication information. And we need to successfully connect it. So once it's connected, then it can be used by other components. And next one is a link service for a Azure SQL Server, which hold the data in a table format. Means it's a help data set should be in a table format. And here we use what database we are using the which user information and password. It's like a connection string of our SQL database, Azure SQL database. And then we will successfully test it. And once it works, then after we need to create a data set. So we are creating two data sets. One is a REST API, which is a JSON data set, and another one which is related to Azure SQL Server, which is a table format data set. And once we have a link service ready, we have a data sets ready, then we create a pipeline having a copy activity. And this copy activity move a data in a JSON format to a table format. It's insert bulk batch insertion in your table in a Azure SQL Server. So once you have a pipeline ready, then there is a one important component which I haven't told you earlier, which is the integration runtimes comes into picture. And this integration runtimes is provide a compute infrastructure. As I said, it's a serverless, so you don't need to worry about compute infrastructure. So now is this integration runtime provides the compute infrastructure, so you don't need to worry about it or location where is your resources located if you use a auto resolve integration runtime, which is default one. And you can use, if you have a SSIS package, then you can use SSIS integration runtime. And if you have a private VNet, then you can use one more integration runtime, which is a self-hosted integration runtime. Or if you have on-premise database or on-premise SFTP system, then you can use a self-hosted integration runtime. So these are the three integration runtime. And integration runtime is nothing but it's a compute infrastructure which Azure provide automatically for you. You can choose either one of them and then it will work. So this integration runtime actually move your data from a JSON file to a table. It's perform that operation. And this you can do it in a Azure Data Factory. So in Azure Data Factory, you can have a more than one integration runtime. You can have a more than one pipelines, data flow, and everything. You can have more than one time. And uh, this in if we compare this situation with a traditional parcel delivery service, then we can say that Azure Data Factory is like central place of your parcel delivery service, who just manage a delivery, who actually not performing anything, but who just handle that system. So here integration runtime we can compare with a delivery person who actually perform the delivery. So this way your Azure Data Factory works. So now let's move into next one, which is a demo. So here first demo is to quick tour of Azure Data Factory. So now let's go to portal. Um so let's start creating Azure Data Factory. So like you need to go to portal.azure.com. So you can type here Data Factory, or you can just select Data Factory and you can create Data Factory here. It's a very simple. You can create new resource group or you can use a existence resource group. So let me use existence resource group, and you can give a suitable name here, which is unique as well. So let's see taste. I'm just giving any random name here, but you need to give a suitable name. And this is the important things, which is a uh, Git integration. So if you know information like your account, project name, repo name, and branch name, then you can use it directly here, or you can configure it later on as well. So let's keep it later on, and let's see here everything is okay. And let's create and review. So that's it. It's validate and you can create it by just a click away. So this way you create your first Azure Data Factory, and you will see here once it's done, you will see here green marks as well. So while waiting this, okay, it's done. Okay, so let's go to that Azure Data Factory. So this is your first landing page, and you can launch it by just clicking on here. So let's launch our first Azure Data Factory. And here you can see that you can what you can do. You can ingest your data, you can orchestrate it, you can transform it, and you can configure SSIS package as well. You can browse here other information, like you can browse other resources as well, existence template as well, and you can see many more things here. And you will see here history if you have browsed anything recently. And that's it. And then these are the Azure Data Factory components. So first one is managed component. Managed component do a management. So it do management of link services, integration, runtime, Azure Purview, and this all information. So you can create link service here by just clicking a few button clicks away. You can just select your source, and you can select integration runtime, but by default is auto integration runtime. So it will you don't need to worry about which region as well. It will find out a closest region to your Azure Data Factory and it allocated to you. And you can connect your source using the Azure Key Vaults or a connection string. And let's see what is available. You can automatically select it from here as well. That's it. And you click here taste. So this way you create your link service. That is a simple, like few button click away. So I don't need to do it. So I'm just canceling it. So once you create link service, it will appear here. And then you can see integration runtime. This is by default, it will create it. And you can create your own integration runtime by few button clicks away here as well. And that's the integration runtime. This is Azure Purview, which is a very good feature which allow you to see which field is used from which source in your data factory pipelines or data flow. It's give you a lineage view of your pipeline operations. Here you will see Git configuration. You can very quickly configure your Git information by few button clicks away. You're just selecting a few informations, in selecting project names and repo and like that. So these are the information you select, it will automatically comes. That's it. This way you will create your it connect with Git repository as well by apply this. If I apply this, it will able to connect it. So that way you can configure Git integration as well. Let's cancel this anyway, take few minutes. You will see ARM templates here, which you anyways connected as well. So this way you will connect your Git repository. Um and these are the ARM templates. So you will see that you can import and export ARM templates from here to deploy different environments in a Azure Data Factory. You can do manually that way, or you can use CI/CD pipeline. You also configure your ARM templates using here as well. You can manage your trigger here. You can create new trigger, and you can see existence trigger will be here. You can have a global parameters which global across your Azure Data Factory. So if you have a 10 pipelines, then it global across all pipelines. So you other pipelines in Azure Data Factory can use that, and you can configure this in a CI/CD as well. And this is a custom manager key if you have your own key if you like. And here you will see manage private endpoint as well. So if you want to put your Azure Data Factory and all resources and manage private endpoint, then you will see all endpoints available here. So this is a manage tab in Azure Data Factory. Now let's move into monitor tabs. So in monitor tab, allow you to monitor your pipelines, triggers, integration, runtime, data flow, and alert metrics. So you will here easily will see at the moment we don't have anything, but you will easily see here pipeline name and these all information like start time, end time, duration, status, and so many things. And it help you to find out if there is any errors, then you can find out why it's a fail. Same way you can do trigger as well, and you can check integration runtime as well, and you can see debug as well. And alert and matrix, you can create it very quickly as well, and that help you to find out, for example, your CPU utilization is above the threshold, then you will get alert, you will get email that this is happens. So you will be get idea that what you need to do next. And there are, for that there are a lot of business criteria also available, so you can choose based on that, and you can very quickly create rules here by few button clicks away. So this is a monitor area. Now let's move into author area. This is very important area, and here you create your pipelines. You can create your pipelines here, you can create your data sets, you can create data flow, and you can use the templates as well, which if you're reusing them, then you can use as a template. So this is a basic components, and you can very quickly create like few buttons clicks away. So this way I'm creating pipelines, and I can give suitable name, and I these are the activities. These all are the activities. Let me grab this one activities. This is a simple activities, you can save it. So this is my first pipeline, and I can run as well. So you can debug it, and you can trigger it once you publish it. Then you can trigger it, but you can debug it like this way. And you will see here status as well. So it's success. Here you will get different status, in progress, queue, like that. And you can dig out little bit more as well. There are a few steps available here. So this is my first pipeline. Now let's move into, and these are the all activities. As I said earlier, they have a lot of activities. So you can see that you have a data transformation activities. You just drag and drop, and then you will select these two properties, source and sink. That's it. You need to tell what is your source and what is your sink. You can use a data transform activity by drag and drop, and here you need to select your data flow by just setting few properties away. If you have already existing data flow, then you just need to select, that's it. And you can do here so many things. Even you have Azure function. If you want to call Azure function, then you just select here, and you select few properties here, like your function name and methods and parameters. And similarly, you have a Databricks activity. um, you have a general activities like append variable, execute pipeline when you have a parent and child pipeline, and so many things is available here. Store procedure activity, set variable activities. So these are the general activities. And you will see that there are control activities as well, iteration and condition activities. Here you will see filter, for each loop, and if condition. Those also like that, drag and drop. That's it. So these are the activities. And let's close this one. So this way you can drag and drop, and then you set few properties. So once you have a pipeline ready, you can validate it. If there is error, then you can't publish it. So, and once everything is okay, you can publish it. So your code will goes into a DevOps or a GitHubs. So I have set up the GitHub repository. So it's, I can create here new branch as well. I can create pull requests, and once I deploy, this is a live mode. So here you will see a result once you have successfully deployed into dev environment. So this is Azure Data Factory, and uh, you will see here few information like notification as well. And I think this is a very quick tour of Azure Data Factory. But before that, let me tell you simply, because we have some time, how to create a pipeline VC. You can create data set as well. You can just create new data set by just a click away, like I showed you how to create a link service. So these are the old sources available to create your data set. So for example, if we select this, and you can select your format as well. These are the available formats for source. For sync, you may not be get all formats. I think you're not getting Excel and XML in a sync. So this way you will create your data flow as well, data set as well. And here they need link service. So we don't have it at the moment, but you need to choose link service, and that's it. And then you need to click OK. So this way you create your data set in Azure Data Factory. And same way you can create your data flow. This is a data flow by just add a source, few button clicks away. Here you will see that you can do join and these all operations which you do in a SQL language like SQL, database language like SQL or link queue. These are the all things which you can do it here. by just clicking a few buttons away. Like that way you will add. So this way you create your data flow, and that data flow you can call in your pipeline as well. So this is a very quick overview of Azure Data Factory. So let's close this one, and now let me show you another demo, which is a okay. Before we go to demo on a another demo, if you want to use these steps in your environment, then you need to create these Azure resources. From moving a data from blob storage to Azure Data Lake Gen 2, you need a blob storage and data lake gen 2. For applying the transformation on a data lake gen 2 and store into SQL server, you need a Azure SQL server as well, and you need a key vaults to hold the secrets. So these are the 6 resources you need per your environments, and this is the demo. So here we have a first pipeline. So in first pipeline, we have a blob storage, and we have a container which is movie dash in container, and it has a file, and it file will move from data lake gen 2 in a movie dash staging container. And here we only using the copy activity in Azure Data Factory, which quickly move your file from one container to another container, or one source to another source, like Azure blob storage to a data lake gen 2. And this copy activity, if you parameterize and do it correctly dynamically, then it one pipeline with one activity can move more than one file. It can move more than a one file, 100 files, 1000 files, and it do very very quickly as well. So this way you move your file from one source to another source. So let's go back in here. So before I show actual demo, I would like to show step by step all resources as well. So this is my resource group, and my resource group I have a 6 resources available here. So let's start with first one is a key vaults. So this is a key vaults which hold the secrets and which is in a central place. So for example, if you're using Azure SQL server in 3 different system, and connection thing has changed, then you don't need to worry at all if you use a key vault, which is a central place. So you only need to change key vaults secrets here, and you don't need to worry about going to go individual system and change secrets. You do one place change, it will apply everywhere. So that's a very good thing. It's a central storage for your connection string and access key and secret. And another thing is it provides the securities, so no one will see that one, so it's hidden as well. So there are 2 benefits of using the key vaults. So key vault, you can use the key, secrets and certificates, but I have used for a secrets because I have a blob storage, Azure Data Lake Gen 2 and SQL Server. So for that I have 3 secrets, and it holds the secrets access key or connection string of your source. And you can very quickly add here if you want to create new, and you can very quickly create new version of that as well by just clicking here. So once you have a key vaults ready and key vaults has a secrets, then only one thing you need to give for Azure Data Factory is you have to give a permission. This is my Azure Data Factory. You need to do for your Azure Data Factory to access this secret. Then and then it works in Azure Data Factory, otherwise it failed. And this is very simple. You don't need to do much things. You just need to select secrets, and here you need to use your Azure Data Factory or other resources. That's it. Once you search that and you select it, and then you need to add. That's it. 2 step you need to do to add access to your Azure Data Factory. So once I have a key vault ready, I have a secrets ready which has a connection strings, then I need to go to my Azure Data Factory and thus just access that. So that is the key vaults. Now next one is a blob storage. So this blob storage, I have a container, and in my container I have a file. This is my movie desk in container, as I showed in a demo in a slide, and it has a file, and this file has a data. So I have a very little bit data which is a sample data, so I have only 3 rows, but in real time you have millions data. So in here you will see that I have a 7 columns here, and these are my data. So I need to do transformation as well later on another demo, but I just want to show you because my address field is this one. This is my address field, last one. So it is a comma separated value with line number, like flat number, area, postcode, and city and country maybe. So I want to split them into four different columns. So for that I have used mapping data flow, and I have used for some other filter as well, because I want to find out the Pacific movie, or like movie types like comedy movie in Pacific years. So for that I have used a mapping data flow, but which is a second demo. So let's imagine that this is a simple file, and I'm moving that file from this blob storage to a data lake gen 2. So this is my file in here in movie desin, and this is my sink or destination for pipeline 1, and here it's supposed to move a file. So at the moment I don't have any file. So once I run my pipeline, file will move into data lake gen 2. This is data lake gen 2. So this is data lake gen 2. So now let's go back to here, and let's go to show you Azure Data Factory. So let's go to pipeline. So this is my pipeline for that. That's it. You just drag and drop a copy activity from here. You search here, just to do this. That's it. And then let's delete this. And then you need to set two properties. You need to set sink and source. So this is my source and this is my sink. That's it. These two property I need to set only. I can set mapping information as well. Like if there are a lot of columns and I only interested into 5 columns, then I can select that as well. And I can select basic types as well. So let's see here. So these are the parameters and variables at a pipe for a pipeline. So I have two parameters, one for file name and one for spec code. And this is variable. At the moment I don't have any variable, but you can create variable for calculation and store in variables, and then you can use that variable in other activities as well. So let's run this pipeline. So this pipeline will move my file from both blob storage to a data lake gen 2. While it's running, I just want to turn on uh, debugger, because this take 3 to 5 minutes, and for second demo. So this is data copy, moving the data. It's green marks means it's successfully ran. And here you can see that input and output. If you want to dig out more that what is input for this, you will see here as well, and you will see output as well. And this is a Google icon. Icon will show you what is your source, what is your sinks, how long it will take for transformation, how long it will take for queuing, and so many other things. So you will get actual idea as well, how many rows it has read and how many rows it has written. So those things you can see it here. And if there is error, then also you can see it here, error as well. So now if I move into my data lake gen 2, then you will see that 5 will be there. It's in here. So this is my Azure dev data lake gen storage. So earlier there wasn't file, but if I refresh, you will see file is here. So this is the file, and it exactly move from there as it is. So this is for one file, but if I want to work for more than one file, then what I need to do, I just need, let's close this key vault. I just need to upload more than one file. So let's go to blob storage, and let's use this container, and it has already file. Let's move this file. So if I upload here more than one file, then same pipeline can work, but now I need to use a for each loop. So if I add a little two files, no need to have a more files. For example, I have two files here, And if I want to run this with the same pipeline and copy activity, then what I need to do, I need to have for each loop and metadata activity. So for that, you will see that I have another pipeline, which is this one. So here you can see that I have a metadata activity which read all files from that blob container and pass to for each loop activity. And for each loop activity just move a file from source to sink. That's it. So here you will see that I have a file which is CSV extension, because I have two CSV file. You can have a different extension as well. And I have parameterized it. So you can see that I'm not hard coding it, I'm parameterizing it. And in my sink, I'm creating table. For each file, I have a one table. So like for example, a car, I have a car table as well. And I'm using exactly same name. So you will see that here what I did, I have used a few features here. You have very, very good inbuilt functions and other features as well, which you can use for concate, truncate, so many things you do. So I just remove the CSV file. CSV extension, I have just removed it because I need the same table name which I have a file name. So that's it. And if I run this pipeline, then you will see that in my database. So this is my database. So you will see that at the moment, I don't have any table. So if I refresh, you will see that, uh, let's wait for a little bit, that it don't have any tables. So it's don't have any table. So if I run this pipeline, then you will see that there will be two tables. Yeah. So it will read a file this in a container, which is this one, and it move how many files here. It may be one, two, or 100 or 1,000 files. So it's read these all files, and it move create a table in here, and that you can do it very, very quickly. Within a half an hour, you can build that pipeline, and you can move your 100 files or 1,000 files from a table. So you will see that there will be a two tables soon. It's still working on that. So this is, you can monitor as well here. Same thing, Google equals, you can see for each loop have a two counts because I have two files in my metadata activity. And here you will see list of file as well. This is child item, and you will see file 1, file 2, and you can have more than one files. And it's run successfully. It execute very, very quickly as well. And now if I go to here and refresh, you will see that it create two tables, table car and events, and you can easily see a data as well. So this is a data movements in Azure Data Factory. And let's refresh this anyway. Yeah, so that is. So now let's go back to slide. So this one we have done for moving the file from a blob storage to data lake gen 2 or blob storage one container to another container. And you can move one file or you can move more than one file. So that is the pipeline 1. And now pipeline 2 with another demo. So here I have now I have a file in my data lake gen 2 in a staging container, and then I move that into Azure SQL database. But I don't want to move file as it is. I need to apply some transformation. I need to apply some filter because there are millions of data, and I'm only interested into 100 of data. So I have to filter it out, so that way I can save a lot of cost as well in order to save into Azure SQL's database. So this, for that I have used a mapping data flow. So let's go back to here in a pipeline in a Azure Data Factory. So let's close this pipeline now, and let's even this as well. So for that I have another pipeline which is a moving pipeline, this one. So here is a mapping data flow. Instead of copy activity, I use mapping data flow. So you can that search by here, like just this way you can do that, and you just set few properties like your data flow names and if they have any parameters. Let's delete this. So this is my data flow, and if you double click here, this is the one. So it's a read file from mapping data flow in a data lake gen 2, which is movie db file. It's filter it out because I'm only interested movie which is in a 2000 1900 to 2000, between them. And you can add more filters here, more condition as well, by just clicking here. And you can say that you only interested in a comedy movie or different kind of movie. And so that is a filter operation. It's reduced the number of rows in output. Then I have added derived columns. As I showed you earlier, address, I want to split my address into four different columns. So here my address in source file can be in a comma separated, or it can have a new line like carriage written as well. So this operation I'm just applying. I'm converting them. If it's new line, then convert into comma separated only. So this is a regular expression. This is a very very powerful expression, and here you can do so many things. And behind the scene, it has a Scala. It uses Scala programming. Here you can do so many things, and you can do very simply by just clicking here. That's it. You can use your source schema fields, or you can use a functions, or you can have a parameters and another data flow like cache version as well. So, and this is the one. Let's close this. So I'm now converting into that in this derived column, and now I'm splitting them into four different address: address 1, address 2, address 3. This is also very simple. You just are using split function, and you splitting them by comma, and you assigning the first value into address 1, and then here you assigning second value, third and fourth. That's it. It's very very simple as well. And now here here you will see that I'm applying the aggregation as well, because I'm using the group by an aggregation function. So I'm group by year, and I'm using the average rating. If whose rating is average, that one I'm using here using the average function. And I'm storing that into database. So now I have only two columns, but here you will see that I have a 13 columns. But it's unnecessary. I'm not interested into storing all information. So I'm only storing two columns, and I'm only storing the filtered result. So that's it. So this is my data flow. And let me run that pipeline while we talking. So that way you can run your data flow as well. So speaking the file from staging area, which is here, movie.staging in a data lake gen 2. And in database, you will see that we don't have a movie DB, but it will create here table as well. So while it's doing that, and while this is running, let's go to here. You can preview as well in Azure Data Factory. You can easily preview by just clicking here. And for that, you don't need to run as well anything. Just need to set up parameters. So let's have a file name. Um, let's copy file name from here. So this is our file name. Yeah, this is our file name, and our spec code is I think it's a movie. So this is spec code, and same thing you need to apply. You can set a default as well, but I just table name. So table name is I have removed this CSV extension and DBO. That's it. You save it, and then now you can preview here as well by just clicking here few buttons. You can preview for each individual component as well, so you will get idea what is happening as well. And while it's doing that, and this is still running, it takes some time because Spark cluster spin up it taking 3 to 4 minutes. So let's it's doing that. While it's doing that, I forget to show you link services. So this is the link services I have already. So I have blob storage link services. And as I showed you earlier, data key vault. So this is a key vaults I'm using here. I'm not using the connection thing. I'm using via key vaults. So this is a key vaults, and this is my links keyword link service as well, which I will show you here. And it's hold this. This is a secrets. That's it. So here you can see that I'm not typing anything connection string or access key or anything. It is automatically do it, and it's use this secret. this secret from my keywords, whatever is there, that's it. And you can test your link service by just clicking here. This connect successfully. So this way I have my another link service, which is data lake gen 2, which also used by keywords. And you can see that this is a secret for that. I think I have closed the keyword, otherwise I can show you. And this one also you can test by just click away. And I have a keyword link service. This is the first one you need. So this is my keywords, and you can test your keyword link service like this way. Once you have that link service, then you can use keyword in your other link services like Blob storage, data lake gen 2, or SQL server. Even my SQL server also using this secret in same keyword, and this is my keyword. You can see that one. So that is a simple things. And as I said you earlier, that everything in Azure Data Factory is a JSON code. So if you click here, this is a JSON code which created automatically, so you don't need to worry about at all. You can delete your link service. You can see who is using your link services by just clicking here related. So these are the data sets which using these link services. So before you going to change your any link service or data sets or pipeline, you first need to know that it's impacted other pipelines or other activities or other objects or not. You can get idea by just clicking here. Let's see what happening here. Okay, so data flow runs successfully. So what data flow is doing? It's reading a file from data lake gen 2 and apply few transformation and store into Azure SQL server. So if I go to here, a database, if I refresh this, you will see one more table, which is a movie DB table. Okay, let's refresh it. See, this is the new table, and you will see data as well. See, I'm interested only year and average rating. So that way I will save some cost as well in Azure SQL Server storing, because I don't want to store unnecessary old information. Extra information I can store in data lake gen 2, but important information I can store into Azure SQL Server. So this way you can store it. So let's go back to here. So this way you can monitor as well here in your data flow, and you will see this more information. You can see lineage view as well, which field is used for which data source, and you will see processing time and how many row is at written, and you see more information as well by just clicking individual components, which give you more hint as well in a case of you want to improve performance or like that. So this is a data flow. Now let's go back to here. I think we were earlier previewing here. So here preview data previews here. So without running any pipeline, you can preview your data as well. So you can see my address have now everything in this address. You can check here. My filter will now filter maybe 2 rows, and you can filter each and individual, like each and individual component you can preview. Sometimes it take little bit time. While it's doing that, same thing you can do it in a data set as well. Let's go to our pipeline and see. Okay, let's go to this pipeline, and here you will see this is my source and sink data set. So you can preview here as well. So you will see here easily without running anything. If you want to see, you can easily preview your data here as well. So let's go to here back and see. Yeah, so see, this is my filter row. It hasn't filtered much because my criteria is matching. So but if you have a proper criteria, then it will reduce the number of rows as well, and derive column will add new derive columns. So that way you can preview as well. I just want to see one thing in here, not there, this preview. So you will see that here it has additional rows as well. but we have to wait for to this to finish. So these are the Azure Data Factory. I'll come back here once I finish this. Let's go back to here. So this is our second demo, where here we have move file, but before moving the file from data lake gen 2 in CSV to Azure SQL table, we have applied the transformation. We have filtered it, we have applied the window functions, and we have used removed the columns as well, and we use very less columns, and then we stored into Azure SQL server, and that is very very quick as well. And for that we have used a mapping data flow. So with that, let's conclude it, and then we go back if we have a time. So with that, I would like to conclude this session. So earlier we have seen Azure Data Factory, which is a platform as a service, which is a cloud-based integration, and it's a no code or low code. So you don't need to worry about programming language, and you can easily integrate it with Azure Machine Learning, Azure Cognitive Service, and many more. And you can apply sentiment analysis using Azure Data Factory without writing a code, without any prior knowledge of maths, data science, or machine learning. And you can do it very very quickly as well. You can parameterize, you can operationalize your workflow, so one pipeline can work for multiple scenarios without rewriting anything. So that is Azure Data Factory. Then we have seen key component of Azure Data Factory. We have seen link services which hold the connection sync. Then we have seen a data set which is a metadata about of your data, which hold the structure of your data for source or sync. Then we have seen activities which do a specific task. Then we have seen a pipelines which is a collection of activities which perform a specific requirements. And then we see triggers which you can trigger your pipeline various different way. Then we have seen quick tour of Azure Data Factory, and then we have seen a data movements and data transformation, very very simple demo. So those are the things we seen. And for data movements and transformation, we have used our source as a blob storage. We move one file from blob storage to data lake gen 2. Also we have seen more than one file from blob storage to data lake gen 2 in a data movements demo. And in transformation demo, we have used a file from data lake gen 2, and we applied few transformation and we stored into Azure SQL database. So let's go back here. Uh, just I want to show you one thing.
We are running out of time, so can you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So this is the one. I just want to show you here. But anyway, here you will see that another three columns, which I have additional columns which I have used in here like this way. So these are the address 1, address 2, address 3, and address 4. So with that, I would like to thank you for attending this session, and thank you for this user groups and Cloud Lunch and Learn team, and Hugo as well. Thank you so much. So now I am open with a question.
Okay, thank you, Alpa, for your presentation and demos. I looked at the chat. We don't have any questions at this moment. I would
Yeah,
like to thank you again, you presenting, and everybody who is watching this session.
yeah,
Please use this QCR code and link that you see on the screen to get connected. You are welcome to follow and get connected on our Twitter channel on Cloud Launch and Learn, and plus watch our YouTube channel where this session will be pre-recorded and posted. Okay, thank you everyone. So as there is no questions on the chat, thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hope to see you on our next session. Bye.
yeah. Thank you. Bye.